Hello, so this is my first thought question, and I decided that it'd be on race for my first one. Um, I think I'll just go by and answer the questions that were written. How would you rate race relations today? I think it's tense to say the least. There is no doubt that the racial issues and racism are coming to light more and more every day. I feel like for the past decade or so, we've all been in a dream pretending racism is over or something like that, and we're just now waking up. And some people are happy about this and some aren't. Some are, they don't want to admit that it's true that racism still exists. It does. Have things improved or worsened since President Obama became president? I think they improved and worsened. They improved because we were able to elect a black president, and he was what stood for people of color, showing that we can be and do whatever we aspire to be. Showing that we can be anything we want to be, and we can also aspire to be anything we want to be. He is an inspiration among other things. It worsened because it made certain racist people feel as though that's all we wanted. They thought, well, if we have a black president now, then they won't feel the need to fight for their rights anymore, which is obviously not the truth. There is still so much that needs to be worked on. There are pros and cons when it comes to President Obama being our president. There is no doubt that tension exists between races today. What do you think is the cause? I honestly think it began when we all had to accept that President Obama was actually leaving office this time. Of course, so much more had happened before this, but I think that it was just put in concrete that we won't have this president to be standing up for us, standing up for our rights anymore. We had to let him go. It was disheartening thinking that one president thus far who has fought for our rights and understood them wasn't going to be there anymore. And then President Trump won office, and it all went downhill from there. Honestly, it's President Trump. He can't be fully to blame. Obviously, there are people out there that were racist way before he became president, but I think with his nonchalant attitude towards racism today, it just made everything worse. White supremacists feel as though they won. They see it as they have a president that's on their side now. I think people of color woke up, and now because we're fighting for our rights and bringing to light what happens in the world, people get scared or offended. I think some people just wanted to pretend like the issue wasn't a thing. My mom being one of them. My mom's white, so she never thought that, she never looked at racism as something that was totally important in my family. I also think there are some people in the world who they didn't know they were being racist, and it hits home to them, and we all know that people fear what they don't know, and they're scared of being wrong. I've had many friends in the past where they were racist, and I didn't know it until I saw media, and I learned more about my other side of me, and I realized that the things that they would do and say was kind of racist, and that kind of scares people, that they thought that these great people and they were being racist, which doesn't mean they're not good people. It just means that we weren't knowledgeable about these things. Who is to blame about the tension that exists between races today? I could easily say that white people and supremacy is to blame, but I think that's a cop-out. Sure, white people are the most common people to be racist against. Well, everyone, but they aren't the only ones. No. Matter of fact, not all white people are racist, so to blame them would be ignorant. Racism began a long time ago, long before any of us were thought of, and it's just been an uphill battle for people of different races. I think at this point, it's a back and forth kind of thing. Something we could blame could be how people were raised. We were all born with a clean slate. We have no qualms about another race, about anything. But the way we were raised and taught, we kind of have a bias. If our parents or whoever our guardian is rambling on slurs about another race, we're probably going to follow in suit. Who are we to question our guardians? It's a never-ending cycle. It's gonna happen. It's always going to happen. Can we eliminate racism? Why or why not? Eliminate racism is kind of a dream. Honestly, it's something a lot of people hope for. One that I don't know if is possible. We can cut down on racism and the struggles that come with it to very little if we all work together. But to eliminate it completely, I don't see that being possible. It requires a lot of people to let go of their stigmas and love another human being. And humans, we like to be set in our ways. We like what we're used to, and we don't want to change for the greater good sometimes. What do you think about the Black Lives Matter movement? Is it helping or hurting, and why? I love the essence of the movement. It stands for something bigger, I think. A lot of people look at this movement and suspect that black people only care about themselves and they're trying to look for a war, but it's not. It's about fighting for what's right. Fighting to show people their realities, waking people up to what's happening to black people and the stigmas around them that they just can't shake. It's about loving one another and appreciating our differences. I think at first it was helping, to empower black people and different races, but now it's turned ugly and it's been overused and overdone, and it's promoted things like violence, and people now take it as a sign of rebellion rather than a good rebellion for something better. They look at it as something that black people just want to be in the light now, which is not true. We just want the same respect that everybody else gets. What do you see as the near future for race relations in the country? Is there a way that we can improve race relations in our country, and if so how? I think it's going to get really ugly before it gets better. There's a lot of fighting and a lot of violence and discrimination in our world today, especially in our country, I wouldn't say that. Not especially in our country. I mean, there are countries out there that deal with race a lot more ugly than we do. And there's no way to bring us back. Our president should be the person that brings us in and makes us a community, but he's not, at least not right now. I don't know. I don't see the country changing drastically anytime soon, but maybe, hopefully, I'm wrong. Of course, there's a way to improve our race relations, opening our ears and opening our hearts. People are so mad nowadays at other races that we've forgotten how to listen to each other. If people would take a step back and walk in our shoes for a day and open our hearts, and we'll see that we're all struggling and that we're all human. Who knows what the future holds for us? Thanks.